So welcome people to the second. I usually call people fuckers, but I'm gonna try to curse less because this is about a kids movie. So I'm gonna try to curse less in this podcast. So hello people that like to watch me yell on the internet, and this I'm doing a podcast about Wrinkle in Time because it's a good movie, and then I'm featuring obviously because her face is so much bigger than mine. So this is a feature. So this is my friend ShiShi. Tell them who you are, ShiShi. Why you're important.
Why am I important?
Yes. Because you're a black woman first and foremost.
First and foremost, I'm
Yes.
magic. Because
Yes.
I'm black, I'm magical. And that's pretty
Exactly.
much the gist of it. Is just that I'm a magical being, and I'm also an activist and a writer. And my name is ShiShi, and I have a cool headscarf on.
She does have a
Hello.
really cool headscarf. That's a really cool headscarf. I'm just like rocking out. Whatever.
It's because I'm about to go to bed when somebody's like, let's do a podcast.
Anyway, ignore anytime she says anything outlandish, we're just gonna ignore her. So just look at me, tiny in the screen on the bottom, and ignore she when she's got crazy things to say. Okay,
They
so we're gonna
ignore this face.
That's true, it's the whole screen. Anyway, so we're gonna split this into 3 sections. So this is like I'm calling this the title of this podcast is A Love Letter to A Wrinkle in Time because I feel like A Wrinkle in Time was a love letter to black girls and women everywhere. So we're gonna split this into 3 sections. So the first section is we're gonna talk about why the movie's amazing, why you should go see it. So this is where a majority of the spoilers are gonna be. So if you don't want to know spoilers and you're gonna skip this part, I'm gonna put the exact time when we stop talking about it in the bio. But otherwise, it's gonna be spoilers all throughout, but most of them are gonna be in this section. Second section, we're gonna talk about the second and third section are about why the movie didn't do as well as it should have, and why the reviews were so bad. Secondly, being the second section being mostly that the black community never shows out for black women the way we show out for black men. And then 3 is just the way sexism in general affected the way critics reviewed this movie because they're all very edgy white men. Edgy white men don't like positive things. They like Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Because that's like a fantasy thing for them. Whatever.
They can even handle Black Panther just because it's a fantasy too.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, it's everybody wants to say like, oh, Wakanda's not real, but bitch, you were talking about what sorting house of Harry Potter you're getting into.
I know, we all went to that fake Harry Potter school for like a month.
Exactly. Like you still have like green and like black stuff around because you swear you're Slytherin, but like let a black person want to be from Wakanda.
Also, like, why was my ass getting off work to like rush home so that I could like do the homework for that Harry Potter school? Like I was literally like, okay, I'm home from work. I just finished commuting. Now I got homework from the Harry Potter school.
That is intense.
Fucking
I never did that. I was never like that. I was like, these white people be like this. And so
that was part of my That was part of my colonizations.
Oh, yeah, it was part of your colonization. Was being into Harry Potter. It's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
I liked it for a little bit. I had a crush on Daniel Radcliffe when I was younger. You can roast me.
I will after this podcast is over, definitely.
Anyway, first and foremost, can we talk about... So first thing I want to talk about is the fact that, like, Ava Dunnery... what is it?
Duvernay?
It's Duvernay, I think. It's Duvernay, right?
I've been saying it wrong, then.
So it's Duvernay, because she says it in the beginning of the movie. Like, she introduces herself. It's Duvernay.
All right, so what am I even doing here talking on this podcast? Right?
Anyway.
No, I don't call her by her last name. We're homies. She's Ava. Like, hey,
she's Ava.
Ava.
Yes, exactly. Girl Ava. So can we just first and foremost talk about the way Ava, like, she just fucking snapped. Like, okay, so she snapped with this movie. Oh, wait, I was supposed to curse last. Okay, she snapped with this movie. She was like, okay, I've never done any sort of, like, big budget sci-fi visual movie, but, like, she ate it anyway. Like, it was like, every single shot of that movie was spectacular. It was just gorgeous. Like,
it was just like, there were so many moments where I was just like, am I like in this movie right now? Like, I it in 3D, and I was still like shook because the visuals were like so intense that it felt like it was 3D.
Yeah,
Like that.
exactly.
What are those little flower things called that
I-
like plant themselves in the ground and then more pop up like themselves? I forgot what those things were
I
called,
think
but
they just call them flowers.
Oh, okay. Well, those flower dudes,
Yeah.
that was wild because they were just like running along, planning more of themselves and popping up and like communicating and shit. They're like, "Oh hey, Reese," like, "Oh hey, girl."
Oh, hey, Reese. She was like, oh, they speak color. I was like, okay, all right, yeah, you got it. Go see your homies. And then like when they like they all like went into that tunnel to like save Calvin.
Yes.
So that was like pretty lit. But like that's like I feel like there's so many scenes specifically I can talk about that just looked amazing. Like one of my favorite shots is in the very beginning when it comes into that thunderstorm and Meg is in her bed. And just like the symmetry of that shot where the like pointed top of the room. I've also
I
seen
know.
this movie 3 times. She's only
I've
seen
only
it once.
seen it once. I've only seen it once, but I think I'm gonna go see it again tomorrow.
Okay.
Before I go out of town, but like, cause I just keep thinking about like the visuals from it. I'm just like,
Yeah.
what the hell? Like, it's just crazy that she was able to like make this and like make it so like stunningly beautiful.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
and I feel like people are not like appreciating that like whatsoever.
No, it's because she's a black lady. They're like, yeah, like, this is
Yeah.
like one of the most visually stunning movies I've seen in like a really long time. And like I'm a movie buff. Like in terms of like looks beautiful from start to finish, including costume design, it was it gave me goosebumps. Like I've seen it 3 times and I still get goosebumps when I watch it.
Yeah, and I just like I feel like we can take Ava when she's like, I don't know, making something like really black that's like talking about race or something.
Like Selma.
Then everyone, yeah, like Selma, like everybody can like cap for her then and like support that when she's like in the struggle. But
Yeah.
like as soon as she makes something that's just like beautiful, we're
Yeah.
like, yeah, not gonna care about that.
Exactly.
Oprah is fucking larger than fucking life,
Right?
and then like what's the little brother's name again?
Charles Wallace.
Charles Wallace. Okay, when he was like, "You're the wrong size" to her, to Mrs. Witch, and then she just stayed that size. She's like,
Sure.
black women to be whatever size they are, whatever the fucking size a black woman's gonna be. That's what they need to be.
Exactly. She was like, "There's no such thing as a wrong size, Charles Wallace."
You know, when it comes to black women.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and the thing is, like, Oprah looks so transcendent in this movie. Like, she's like, how I think the way Ava portrayed Oprah in this movie is how we all see Oprah in our head.
Exactly. And Oprah like that since like Color Purple days.
Exactly. Like Oprah's been that like god figure in our eyes, and like finally it's just like on screen.
Yeah, that was like my favorite part of it was just the way that Oprah looked throughout the entire.
Exactly.
My favorite scene is the scene where, like, right before they go into that cave thing with the dude with the balancing fucking things, whatever the fuck that.
Zach
Before that,
happy medium.
yes. Before that, when Mrs. Witch and Meg are like coming out, like right after they just like, I don't know like any of the terminology for this movie, so it's like hard to like talk about
it. The Tesseract.
They tessered there.
Yeah.
And then when Meg was like doubting herself, and then Mrs. Witch like took her by the shoulders and like told her how the whole universe had to like come together to create her, and I was just like,
yes.
I was like, my nigga, what are we doing right now? You can't do this.
Yo. And then like it's like because it's so powerful because like especially because like in that exchange when she's like in order to test her correctly you have to be one with the universe but also with yourself, and she says it seems like you don't even want to come back as yourself, and that's like such a powerful like line to me because
she's like, I know.
Exactly. She's like, can I come back as somebody else?
Bitch, if you don't get your little self over here so I can talk to you right now. I know. I'm like trying not to cuss too, but it's so hard because it's so powerful, and I just want to be like, I just want everybody to feel as snatched as I felt by it.
Exactly. Like I came out and I had no hair. I was bald the first time I came out after I watched A Wrinkle in Time.
Edges were gone.
Exactly. I was like, Ava, my wig, my edges.
Oh my god.
But like everybody snapped. Like it was like that whole movie. Like especially like I feel like we gotta really talk about like how well each child actor did. Like they were,
Oh my god,
yeah.
seriously.
Meg had me crying like the whole time. Like I was just like, oh, that's my child. Meg is my daughter.
No, when she was talking about that she deserves to be loved and she screamed
Yes.
that at Charles, oh my god, I like
Yes.
died. I
Yeah.
died. Especially because that was like her final words before she like dropped to the ground. So it's like I was in the theater like bawling my eyes out.
Yo,
Especially because I went by
same.
myself, so I didn't have to like that thing where you like go to the movies with your friends and you don't want to be the bitch that's like crying up in the movie. I didn't have
Yes.
to worry about that because I went by myself. So I was just like crying
Crying
alone in the
thug
theater.
tears.
Crying thug tears in the theater.
I went to go see it with my friends, and so like I was like, like wet eyed the whole time, but like I couldn't like sob like I wanted to. So what I did is I came home. I told my mom, I said, I'm gonna be in my room for just like 15 minutes crying. I'm fine.
I'm gonna be in my room.
I was like, don't come in if you hear me crying. I'm fine. I promise. I just saw Wrinkle in time, and I just need to let it out.
Oh
Like,
my
don't come
god.
in. So like I just sobbed for like 2 hours after I watched it. But and like I love the because talking about another like the amazing shots is because like I always tell people like I was talking with my family like my brother and stuff about they were like oh everything or like Midnight Sun and I was like I don't like love stories. Yeah,
You're like
exactly.
everything.
Yeah, everything.
Same.
Nothing. Thank you.
I
But
actually liked that movie,
you
but
did?
like I did because I liked the book, I guess. So I was like
Okay.
already kind of biased towards the movie, and like I liked it, but then I was also kind of irritated by the fact that like okay, so she changes the main character, the girl, like the fact that she wasn't half Japanese, half black, like she's supposed to be in the book. So then I was like, if you can do that, then you can bend with the main character dude too and change
True.
his race, and he doesn't have to be the
White.
regular white guy character. So I was like, if you can do that, then you can do anything. Like Angela is only black and white; she's not Japanese.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But
so I'm like, yeah, so I was like kind of irritated by that concept that people think that like the interracialness is like interchangeable, that
yeah.
like
Or that
you could
people
just
just
throw
like when we think of interracial relationships, we always think like a person of color and a white person.
yeah, like
When it
why
could
not a
just
black person and an Asian person?
yeah, exactly. Like it could be like an interracial person doesn't an interracial relationship doesn't have to have a white person in it.
Yeah, like wow, a concept.
A concept. Well, I haven't seen that movie and I don't plan on it because it didn't look like my speed or whatever. Because like I don't like love stories and I realize it's not because I actually love love stories. I just love profound love stories. Like love stories where they'll move the universe itself and like I love that exchange between Charles Wallace and Meg in that last
Yeah,
movie because his love for her is what saves her, and then her love for him is what saves him from the it. Like like from him being absorbed. Like you can see the like synapses because that's really cool about the last scene is that instead of it being a floating brain that she fights, they're actually inside the brain of the it, and you can see
yeah,
the synapses of, and you can see Charles Wallace like becoming one with the just becoming another synapse, and
yeah.
it's just amazing. Like her whole okay, her dad was like, all right, I'm sorry, I gotta leave. I'm just gonna leave my son.
I know. I was like, my dude, you already left your kids once, and you're just gonna leave your kid that you haven't seen since he was like 2. Like, are you serious right now?
Yeah, and then I
So
love
hot.
how
I was pissed at him. But like I love that the whole like scene between her and her brother because I feel like we don't have enough like love stories that are about like non-romantic relationships.
exactly,
Like pisses me
exactly,
off to no end. Like why don't we have movies where like it's about best friends just like loving each other where they don't
exactly,
have sex. Like
exactly,
a
exactly. Yeah,
concept.
like friends and benefits or whatever.
Yeah, like none of that. I think like so I always love movies firstly, like race aside, I always love movies where that is the main concept, where
Agreed,
they're
one thousand
like people
percent.
just love each other. Like Brave is like one of my favorite cartoon movies because the whole movie is about her rejecting her dad and him like wanting her to get married and her just like loving her mom and like trying to save her mom. So I'm
Yeah,
just like, can you please have more movies about people just loving other people because we love lots of people that has nothing to do with romance all the time.
exactly. It's like yeah, because it makes people. It really like it makes it seem like no other relationships in your life can ever be that significant. Like
Or like worthy of that kind of love that like love
exactly.
for them never get that big, but it actually does get that big. In
Like
fact, like I've had more heartbreak losing friends than I have from like being in love with somebody and like losing that relationship.
Oh, see, I'm melodramatic, so everything feels as exactly worse to me as everything else does. Because I'm melodramatic, so everything is horrible.
You're like, everyone can die. I hate everyone.
No, I mean, like, every time somebody, like, breaks my heart, whether it's, like,
It's the
romantic
worst.
or friendship, I'm just like, so I just die. So regardless, let's just skip past me and my foolishness. But, like, yeah, but that's, like, their love for each other is, like, so profound. She fights, like, she faces a giant, encompassing, like, evil darkness spirit because she, like, loves her little brother that much.
I know her daddy didn't even care. He was just like, bye.
He said, "Forgive me."
Like, and then at the end, when she like hugged him, when they like got back together, I was just like, y'all don't need to get into therapy or something because this was a lot. First, you didn't go on
I
for
agree.
years, and then now you didn't left this little boy, and she had to go fight the darkest spirit in all of the universe to get him back. Like, how do you in that relationship between father and daughter after
Yeah,
that?
no, I agree, and I love the awkwardness when they first talk to each other because it's like, sorry, I almost left your brother in space. Are we cool?
Yeah,
Are we cool?
I'm sorry I left you for 4 years and then abandoned your brother and almost gave him to an evil spirit. Like,
Are we cool? Are we cool?
yeah, that's it. Are we good though? We good though? You want to go for ice cream?
Yeah, exactly. Right, burgers. Right, you still like burgers? It's been a while. I don't know.
Exactly. She's like, Dad, I'm a vegetarian now.
Yeah, damn, I haven't eaten meat in 4 years.
Again, ever since you left, I became vegan.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, but also like, wait, you wanted to like you were talking about how everybody was saying that Meg wasn't black enough, but like her black girl face before she hits Veronica in the face.
That was like my favorite part because I was like, y'all really want to say she not black? Did you see her face before she punched that little white girl? You see her face?
Yeah, exactly. She was like, that was a okay.
She was like, hey, bam. She like knocked me out through the screen. I was like,
Exactly. Like I felt that one. Like I was like, oh, gee. Oh, but I felt
it's
bad for
like she threw a
Veronica though.
basketball or some shit.
Yeah, she threw a basketball at her, and that girl, she like went down. But I,
And the principal, like her parents are on their way.
no, but I love that exchange because like she's like she Meg says like, oh, she was being mean or whatever, and then the principal goes, and you hit her in the face. And I'm like, true, she did.
And
Exactly.
was being mean.
Exactly. She deserved. She was mean. But like that like the scene with Veronica, like that really that brings me back to like the scene with the scene where they talk where she lets like Oprah's like see through my eyes. Like I cried during that scene every time because this also kind of ties in why like why a lot of men gave this movie bad reviews, because a lot of it has to do with like things that women feel specifically in that scene where Veronica like where she's on the scale and she's got like the no carbs and all that stuff on the mirror, and that scene always makes me like really emotional because like I feel like most women can identify with that.
Yeah.
She just looks
Most of us had our lists on the mirror
yeah.
and constantly weighing ourselves. Like, hopefully, a lot of us are not still doing that, but a lot of us did grow up in very like toxic like diet culture.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, and I was like literally just talking to a friend about this earlier because I was just like, literally, like almost all of our moms had like diet issues, and it all got like passed on to us, and so now we're trying to like rectify all of this stuff
Exactly. Like
so
you're
that we
trying
don't
to
pass our kids in the future. And yeah, I fully identify with that because like junior high, beginning of high school was like such a hard time for me, like diet wise, that like I was like restricting, I had eating disorders, it was like all this stuff. So I could like definitely see how having those issues could like lead you to being like the mean girl that just wants to like be like an asshole to everybody
yeah,
because you feel so bad about yourself.
exactly. Like you want to make people hurt the way you hurt.
Yeah, like I never crossed over to being a mean girl, but I was bullied. So then that's why like I was never cool enough to be the mean girl, but
Yeah.
I can see how if you had access to that like power that you would use it.
Yeah, easily, exactly. And it's just like she looks like like she looks hungry, you know what I mean? In that scene. She looks like, while she's looking at the thing, like like that sort of like, I don't know. And I love it because like I saw like this like these stupid like like the reviews are like, a giant evil darkness cloud causes all the negativity in the universe, like whatever. And I think the people are just like not understanding like what the it is supposed to be. You know what I mean? Because it's like obviously it's not supposed to be like all the bad things because like Meg still feels like several bad things about herself at the end. You know what I mean? She's like, oh, I don't trust easy. You know, I'm impulsive, etc., etc. I think it's more representative of outside forces that directly dictate how we perceive ourselves. You know what I mean? We can accept our faults if we just think about them ourselves, but we have these external forces, you know, like diet culture, the patriarchy, like affecting the way this. And then you have it. It's also representative in the next scene where you have Calvin being screamed at by his dad. You know, like all his internal struggles and insecurities are because of outside forces. Like it is supposed to be things that don't come from internal that are just making you feel bad about yourself and not letting you accept yourself. And that's why Meg is able to overcome it at the end.
Yeah, because it's like all of the outside forces. It's like the part where they showed like what her like basically her chosen
Yes,
like what she would want to look like. That comes from an outside source, like her feeling like other because she's a black girl, and also she's
exactly,
an adopted black girl, and so her mom looks like her, but like her dad doesn't look like her, and she still feels like weird in the world, and so that's why it was like so hard for her to take a compliment about her hair, and that's why like how she pictured herself as being like cooler or like looking better had like straight hair and like dressed differently and like there was all these
exactly,
other things because we internalize all the messages that we get and then we can like turn them as evil on ourselves all the time
exactly,
and other
exactly,
people constantly, which is like that's why the bully girl was like, okay, well I'm gonna treat you like shit because I feel bad about myself, whereas Meg like turned it inwards, so we all just like
exactly.
who we're gonna turn it on.
Exactly. So it's like, yeah, it's like that's exactly that's as a representative of those external forces, and we choose to do what we want with that negativity. And I think that scene is so significant. You know, like where she rejects herself with the straight hair, and like that's why like it's significant. This movie is so significant for Black women and Black little girls because. And then I know you said you don't like. You said Calvin was useless, but in this house we respect Calvin. So
In this
we
house, respect Calvin. I
in this
am tired of the white boy like lead like romantic character. It's like my only issue with the entire movie
yeah.
is that is just like how I feel about it. But I did like his character. I liked that he was like capping for Meg, and he was like when she was like afraid that he was gonna be embarrassed for being seen with her, and then he was just like he like didn't want to hide. I was just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, exactly. Like if I was 13, I would definitely be crushing on Calvin. Like but that's not even like
like that one specific white boy that I was that like I still crush on now. Like they like look like that. Like they
yeah.
always look like that. No matter what grade I'm in, no matter how old I am, they always like look like that. Whether they're a man or like when I was a kid and they were a kid. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly. But I do like that he goes out of his way. Like that's it's significant. Like you know, Ava and the writers could have picked any compliment for him to say, but he compliments her one on like the fact that she's like incredible and smart, and then two on her hair, and you can
And he
tell.
did my hair twice.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
that's why I was like, okay, I see you. I see you.
Exactly. And it's like anybody can like, you know, like we as Black women can identify with that. You know, um you don't get any sort of like positive reinforcements for your like, you know, Black features as a woman. You know?
No.
Like it's like you have women, you know, white women and etc. like fetishizing like Black men. You know, like a lot what happened with like Black Panther. But, you know, like it's never you always have like these women that like gorgeous Black women, but they're always treated as like an exception, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's never like, oh, it's standard like, oh, like anybody can be beautiful. Like a beauty exists in Black women. It's like, oh, Lupita Nyong'o is like attractive, but not anybody else.
Well, and plus, like I read this article once about like Lupita and white women finding her attractive because it's like they still are so like wishy-washy with it because in order to say that she's attractive, they'd have to say that they find dark-skinned women attractive
Mhm.
and nappy hair attractive and afros,
Exactly.
all these things. So it's like hard for them. So she is like the exception. And I just like I also one thing, even though Meg's character, even though she's not dark skinned, I love that she has African like black
Yeah.
features.
Like
Like
that little girl
because
was Black.
she's black. Like because that was the other thing. Because like a lot of people were just like she's like too light to be in this movie, and I was like, okay, every movie that we make is not going to have somebody with Lupita skin tone. Like let's just like put that
That's
out there.
I mean, because we
That's
don't all come in Lupita skin
we
tone.
don't
I'm
all
not
come.
Lupita skin tone, neither are
I'm
you.
I'm not Lupita's skin tone. So I felt myself identify with Meg's character as being a middle tone, like brown person. And
Exactly.
I still hold privilege in this skin color because there are people that are
Exactly.
dark. but I can also see that like I can look at a movie like A Wrinkle in Time and still feel like I'm being uplifted in that space, because I still do need to be uplifted even though I come with privilege, because
Exactly.
I'm lower spectrum of color. But I really appreciated that Ava casted someone who had very clear African features,
Yeah.
because so often it's like they have these light skinned girls who usually have their hair straight if they're like playing in these roles, or if they
Hmm.
do, it's like very, very loose curls, where she had like tight curls and she had like a Negro nose.
Yeah,
Like,
I
a
was gonna say that nose.
serious
She got a Negro
got
nose.
the Negro. So,
That is a
just a little
Jackson
light.
5 nostril.
Yeah, a little lighter, but she's got African features, and so
Yeah.
I really. So not only it's like, not only did Ava pick her because she can act, but she also like picked like visually somebody who can represent multiple people, even though she's lighter. I feel like a lot of people who are darker than her, like myself, can still identify with her.
Exactly, exactly. And then it's just like, and then just the struggle that she went through, is
Yeah,
that like any black woman could look at this and be like, yeah, no, I feel that, you know. And it's like, and I feel like another criticism I saw was like, oh, like Meg wasn't unlikable enough, and then I don't understand that, because like you only can see that as an outside person, like it's not the fact that like other people have to dislike her, it's the fact that she doesn't like herself, you know.
yeah. We don't have to dislike her. The whole point was that she turned her darkness on herself and
Exactly.
needed help to come out of that and to be strong and to like love herself. But
Yeah.
like,
And there's like,
yeah,
oh, sorry, what were you saying?
I was just like saying, yeah, it's dumb. Like, why does she need to be
Yeah, like
more?
she needed to like I don't know, like punch a puppy or something.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes too, like in these movies where it's like a black woman or a black girl, they want such like intense complexity of like character. You
Yeah,
know, like that we have to be so like multifaceted, and it's like, why can't we just exist? Like,
yeah,
we can just be a person. You know,
yeah,
like we don't have to have all these like fucking layers. I know we're so used to having to be layered in the real world constantly, but fortunately, this is like fantasy. She
yeah.
doesn't have to have that many layers. She can be like one person that's normal
Exactly.
without like all of this. Like, I feel like people would have loved her so much more if Ava had wrote in a bunch of serious, serious trauma for her
Yeah,
character. Like,
exactly. Everybody's like, I want it to be
but
darker. It's like black women are always going through dark stuff, always trauma. We only get things, and we only get to be the main character when it is trauma.
also, can I say that I love the fact that the people who hurt Meg the most in the movie were both like white characters. So
Yes.
her hurting her by leaving white, and then the bully also white. So I
Yep.
was just like, I love that, because she easily could have like made those characters any race,
Yeah.
and it would have been fine. But I thought it was really important that the parent who stayed and like took care of her all that time was her black mom.
Because that's really how it is in the like real life. you know?
Yeah, and not many black dads leave. You see this?
Yeah.
White dads can leave too. You see? Sometimes they
Exactly.
help the universe because they don't get arrested and shit. But like on little trips.
Exactly. And then like, but yeah, like they would have loved it if she went through like this trauma. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that there's a specific type of drama. I can identify with this for sure. I mean, I don't remember. Well, you grew up in Cali, so you can probably also identify with this. There's a specific trauma that comes with being a black woman growing up in the suburbs, and that's real life. Because
Yeah.
there, you don't get like as you don't get to be at like attractive. You know what I mean? You're not. Nobody wants you.
No,
you know?
nobody wants you. And like I grew up poor and stuff, but like still growing up in California is a very different experience, because like I didn't there were only like very minimal times where I lived in like the hood,
Yeah.
you know. So we were like poor living in like a better area. So yeah, I was unattractive to everybody in
Yeah.
that area. Like,
Because
and I
the
was
black
bullied by
dudes don't
all.
want to date you because they want to date white girls, and
Yeah,
the
and so
white
then I
boys
was
don't want to date
bullied.
you.
Yeah, white boys don't want me. I was fat, like could kind of diet, trying to lose weight, and
Yeah.
then bullied by all these ugly ass girls. And it was always like the girls that were like either white or Latina or were like black but like lighter than me, and they always had their
Exactly.
hair straight. So like all I wanted was my hair straight, because I wanted my hair to look like them so that I could be like cooler. And then why did those bitches like initiate me into like their group one time, and then they all turned on me after like a week, and I thought we were like homies. they like made up this rumor that I like slept with her boyfriend, which is like totally off topic right now. But
No,
it
it's
just
okay.
goes into how these girls be playing people. So
Yeah,
I felt Meg. I was just like on that level
exactly.
with her. Yeah.
Because like you also, especially because like you also can identify with this. Like I mean, obviously we have like African American vernacular in the way we speak, but you have like people like Meg, especially with her being biracial, she probably also has to deal with that like it not black enough, but not exactly white. You know what I mean? And the way she
Yeah.
talks and the fact that she's interested in science. you know.
Yeah.
And so you're in this really weird like in between where you're like, I don't even know if I'm a person. Nobody's treating me like I'm a person.
Because nowhere except for home was any of her interests like reinforced,
Yeah.
and even the teachers at the school talking shit about the
Yeah.
kids. Yeah, like nobody, like the principal didn't like even try to like understand what she was going through. All she had was her parents, and then her dad like was just missing. So then she just has her mom who's like also grieving the loss of him, so she can't be there fully for
And
them.
she has
So
another child.
yeah, and she has another child who's like a wild ass kid that's always doing stuff, like getting into this and like talking to strangers and inviting people up into the house and shit. Like he needs to be watched. Clearly,
He needs to be watched.
he needs to be watched. Like, cause why he got himself all like messed up with it? Like,
Yeah, but like, can we also talk about how the actor who played Charles Wallace snapped in that like scene? Because like, I was
when he
mad
was
at him. I was
talking,
like,
dragging people,
yeah,
like,
I was like, you shit, little boy, you shit. I was mad.
I wanted to fight him
Exactly.
so bad.
Yes, I mean that kid was acting.
Yeah, he was dragging people both literally and figuratively.
Yo, true.
I was just like, yo, this is so intense.
He was. That was like so true though. Like I didn't even like he was dragging them like verbally too. What a rude ass little boy.
I just like, I don't know. I just like love him, and he needs an Oscar for his portrayal in that movie.
I agree. And that's like, yeah, but that scene where where he's dragging him down the hallway, that's one of my favorite. It looks so cool. Because the way he walks evilly into the frame and the camera doesn't move at all, and you just see them being dragged behind him. And then the way they shoot him, like as he's walking through the little bars, the slots in the hallway, and everything's
Yeah,
blue. That scene looks so cool, and it's so menacing and so dark.
I know
That's the
when he's
darkness
like
that all the
sick.
white dudes wanted.
I know he's like a 6-year-old little boy, and he's
Yeah,
like so scary in that moment. And the
exactly.
fact that she still decided to stay and save him,
Yeah.
and dad left, like that was fine.
Yeah, like he's scared of like 40-something-year-old man.
Yeah, that was so intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that scene.
I love
Now I
that
want to see
scene too.
it again. I want to see it again tomorrow.
Okay. All right, see it again tomorrow. Let me know. I've seen it 3 times. I'm gonna see it one more time, and then that's it, because I'm overwhelmed.
Like I gotta watch the DVD so then I can watch it whenever I want every
Yeah.
day.
I got that little booklet, and I haven't even looked through it yet because I'm like overwhelmed. I like can't. But and then the scene like where I love the scene where they're in the suburbs with all the kids bringing like
Oh, I
that's
know.
so creepy. It's
And
so
the
yeah.
mom was so intense. And then like when she denies them and doesn't fall for that, and then everything just crumbles. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yo, Ava did that. Yo, Ava did that with every single scene in that movie. She did the damn thing.
I feel like anybody that has a problem with this movie doesn't like their brain doesn't expand enough to understand exactly what she was doing, is what I feel
Exactly.
like. Because like once you start pulling apart, like I'm even thinking more about like how genius it was as we're having this conversation.
Hmm.
But as you start pulling it apart, you see how like meticulous everything was that she
Yeah.
did. And I feel like people literally just sat there and didn't even like let their minds be open while they were watching it and like see it for what it was, which was like magical, like
Yeah.
everything that she put in there and the thought process behind everything and like the deeper meaning behind everything. Like it wasn't just like she just threw a little kids movie together,
Yeah.
you know.
It's like everything has multiple layers, and I feel like every time I see it, like I've seen it 3 times, and I feel like I'm still noticing things. I'm still realizing like, oh, that was a metaphor for this, or this means this. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a kids movie, and I've seen it 3 times. I still feel this way.
And it's weird because like I don't normally like kids movies that because like I'll watch a cartoon, you know,
Hmm.
sometimes without a kid because like sometimes those will just hold my interest more. But like actual kids movies, like live action ones, is like very hard for me to like. And
Yeah.
like the fact that I like this one so much shows that she like went really deep with it.
Yeah.
But and it sucks because like I would love to see more work like this from Ava, but like if people
Same.
don't come through and support her, then like she can't continue to make this kind of work. The only thing she's going to be able to make is like Selma and Queen
Yeah.
Sugar and like
And
very black things
and like
constantly.
other things where black women go through trauma. Let's just watch more
Yeah,
black
like
women be sad.
I mean, I love Queen Sugar, but the whole thing is basically like black women being sad.
Yeah. That's the only way that we're like that we are consumable. Apparently, is like we're like sad or ghetto or light
It's
skin.
like a Tyler Perry TV show.
Yeah.
Sometimes is what it feels like. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Which like I guess would be interesting, but like I probably couldn't really watch that every week.
no, he has several TV shows that my mom watched, and let me tell you, they're not good.
Well, I never knew about those, so I'm glad that I never watched them.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of I'm tired of us having to go through like severe trauma for anybody to be entertained by us.
Yeah.
Or to even like fathom that they could be entertained by us. Because the thing is if they just would like open up their mind and like consume the art that we make, then they would actually be entertained by us because we're entertaining people. We're funny.
Because we're humans.
We're fucking humans. We have all these like dimensions and stuff, and like we don't have to be like trauma survivors to have all those dimensions.
Or
And
be
what
like
sucks
Ratchet
that,
or
like,
something. You know what I mean? Like we're always the Ratchet character. Or we went through trauma.
yeah, it's always like those two things. And what sucks is that like the more that they deny us, the more trauma we get.
Yeah.
So then the more it feeds into this same fucking cycle, and they just like let us be.
And then we get to be angry.
Yeah, they want us angry because they want us to be like what Angela Bassett's character in like What's Love Got to Do with It or whatever. Want us like torching cars and shit. Like what is that one new movie? What is that one new movie? Acrimony or whatever with
Oh yeah, with Taraji P. Henson.
Yeah, like what is she doing?
I don't want to see that.
She just seems angry, and I'm just
I
like,
don't know what that's about. I just know she's yelling in a bad wig.
Oh, and I was just like, that's her fighting wig. You know, like every time she puts that wig on, she's about to fight somebody. I'm like, I don't know if I want to see that right now. Like,
that's her fighting wig.
It's like
see that right.
It's now. Like Halle Berry. Like every time Halle Berry has the curly wig on, you know she has to like go save somebody because like all
exactly.
She like puts on that ringlety one. It like has those big ringlets, and it's like okay, now she's gonna go fight some white dude.
Now she's gonna go fight some white dude. Exactly. So I think this is a perfect. Because I can literally talk about every shot in the movie and how immaculately done it is. So I think this is a perfect segue for us to get into the next section. We're talking about why black people don't show out for black women the way we do for black men. Now, I want to start this because, like, specifically something you said. Can we talk about how this also, Wrinkle in Time has an amazing soundtrack, but is it being talked about? Because every single person that Ava asked was a woman.
Unlike fucking Kendrick.
Yes, I was gonna say, you want to talk about this.
How are you gonna make a movie where black women are that like uplifted and you don't put black women on your soundtrack except for a light-skinned black girl who's the only person who has her own song on the Black Panther soundtrack?
Exactly.
He fucking featured SZA. Are you serious? Like, I'm still so hot. I'm I'm pissed. Like, literally, that whole CD was Kendrick's CD, like, Damn Part 2. Like, that's all it was. And I'm, like, still so mad about it.
Exactly.
I didn't buy it. But, like, I'm definitely, I was going to buy it today, the Wrinkle in Time soundtrack, because it was so good.
Yeah. Sade hasn't made a song in 7 years. Ava got Sade, the smoothest voice to ever be in the universe, to make another song. She was like, I'm done with music. And then Ava was like, but can you make one more song? And she was like, I guess. I guess. And that song makes me cry. Like, every time I hear it, I'm just like, flower of the universe, it's out of my... But, like, yeah, like, All the Stars is the best song on the album. And it's, like, would have been better if SZA just had 2 verses and Kendrick wasn't on it.
Yeah. Like, that would be great. Or it'd be great if Kendrick didn't put 4 of his own songs on the Black Panther CD. Like, that is not what it means to be a music curator. It does not mean curate yourself on a CD. That means find artists. It feels like he literally went out of his way not to find black women.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like, I'm so pissed about it. And the fact that, like, Ava literally have all these amazing women on the soundtrack, and I'm just like, this is how you do it. This is how it is done, Kendrick. But, like, no one's talking about this soundtrack because it's featuring black women. Yep. And what sucks, I think also why I get pissed about this shit is that we're so like conditioned to also not support black women as black women
Yes,
that there will
exactly.
be little groups, little pockets of black women like you and I who will be having these conversations and trying to get people to like hold on and be like, hey, we need to support black women, and the rest of them will just fall right in line with whatever the black men are doing.
Yep,
And I'm like,
exactly.
you guys, you have to support what we're saying so that we can all rise up together. If you keep just supporting the black men, then we're all going to get left behind in the dust. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so tired of this mentality that I think we're just so used to being rejected and left behind for forever that people are just like, black women are just like tired. They're tired of fighting. They're tired of trying to like ask for a place at the table. They've realized that there is no seat at the table and they have to just stand in the corner.
Yep,
And
exactly.
instead,
And
I'm just
quietly, and
like,
don't get complaining. Don't be mad.
no. And so instead, I just walk in the kitchen and throw the whole table up in the air. And I'm like, well, I guess nobody's eating today, bitch. Like, ain't nobody getting no food. So,
Exactly. So
yeah.
fuck you and your dinner. Oh, sorry, kids movie. Whoops. But yeah, no, I completely agree. And it's like I also think like you said, it's a very like when we talk about the black experience, we tend to conflate the black male experience with what everybody's experience. You know what I mean? When we think of the black struggle, it's like, oh, like we gotta support the black men. You know what I mean? There's always some memes like black women gotta support black men. Black women are the blah blah black. Like it's not. It's like we're people too. We're not just like subsidies of black men. I
No.
was born alone
Yeah.
as
And
a
I'm gonna
full
die
person.
alone.
Exactly. I was born as one human person. I was not attached to a man. Like
It's just like, it's such a wild concept to me that we like don't exist in like any space ever.
no,
Like,
no,
it's just wild to me. I mean, this like makes me think about what you and I were talking about earlier about Stephon Clark and like all
yeah,
of this shit that like black women, we've been going so hard for him, and not that we should not support him or like fight for his life, but then like all this stuff coming out about how much he hated black women and
yep.
how much his girlfriend hated black women, how she was like, I don't want my son to come out dark like
And then
it's
he
just like,
like hyping it, he like gassing it.
yeah, and he's just like 100 or whatever in the comments. Like, you're really hyping that. She's talking about you though. And what's crazy is I'm out here protesting and shit, and I am like almost got run down by a cop's motorcycle. He was like revving up on me at the protest for Stephon the other day, and I was like really sitting here today thinking like, okay, if I'd actually been run over by that motorcycle, if Stephon was alive, he wouldn't have went out and been
No,
in the street like
not
fighting
at
for me.
all.
He wouldn't have been like support black women. Like, it's just wild to me how much we fight for them and all that we like have like no other option,
No,
because also at the same time I'm like, if we don't support him, then we're sending a message to cops that like, hey, you can kill us, that's fine. So it's like
exactly.
we have to fight for his life because he did not deserve to die.
And he's
However,
still
he
black.
also he's
Cause
still black, and
so
we still have to support him, but we that means we still go last, that we have to
exactly.
now support somebody who hated us, who would not be out in the streets for us if we died.
There's like a very like insidious idea in like marginalized communities where it's like I'll get yours after I get mine. You know what I mean? It's that way
Yeah.
with black men and black women. It's the way with white queer people and queer people of color. It's that way with queer people and trans people. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
once I get mine, I'll get yours, and that's like we can all get ours at the same time. you
That's that
know?
Hillary Clinton mentality. Remember when Hillary was like, "We got to break all these glass ceilings," and I'm like, "Bitch, I don't want to have to be the one cleaning up all the glass you broke on the floor on my head. Like, I don't want shards
Exactly.
of glass in my fro. I'm sorry."
Exactly, and that's like you would use those same shards of glass to like slit our throats, and it's like
No,
even when we
Hillary
talk,
would be shaking a bit. She'd be like, "All right, let's go." And put a shard of glass in her hand.
and even when we talk about police brutality, we hardly, like whenever you get those lists of like people who died, how often are the black women that were victims of police brutality actually included in those,
F at all. They're
if at
usually at the
all?
bottom of the list. F at all.
And then if there is, there's like two of them, like
Yeah.
like
It's wild to me. Actually, at the protest for Stefan the other day, this guy like took the mic at one point and he was talking, and he was like, "We also need to fix the damage that has been done in our own communities to our black women who would rather protect us when and let us beat them than to ever go to the police because they don't want the police to kill us." So I was just like, "All right, I see you. Are you single? Because I see you." But like, real, like, I'm so tired. I'm
yeah.
like laughing, but I'm like so tired.
No, it's like you're laughing because if you didn't, you'd be like a freaking out just all the time.
It's a coping mechanism for the fact that like literally at every turn we get hit with some bullshit. Because it's like there is no safe place for Black women.
No.
There's not even a safe place among other Black women because we don't know how to properly uplift ourselves. Like I said, because we're so used to always going last and so used to just like humbly standing in the corner waiting for the Black man to have his plate of food first, and we'll eat maybe after everybody else.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah, and if they leave us anything, you know, because like
yeah,
we're
fucking
literally like, you know, like I get like, you know, people intersectionality, and yeah, it's not a competition, but you got to realize what privileges and what oppress, like what things that oppress you, and Black women are at the very bottom of the totem pole, and that's just how it is. And specifically like trans Black women and you know queer Black women, we're at the very bottom. We're like beneath the ground, you know.
yeah, and it's like it's wild to me that people don't understand how that transfers like into everything else that happens to us.
Yeah,
So it's like if Black women are so hated by like the community, then obviously we're not going to come through and like support a movie by a Black woman who's the first Black woman director to get a budget this high.
exactly.
So all the more reason that it was important for people to come up and show out for Wrinkle in Time, the same way we all showed up and showed out for Black Panther. Like there
Exactly.
are people, there's fucking like Dominican people that don't want to claim that they're Black, walking around in like kente cloth like outfits and
Yeah,
like
because of Black
all these
Panther.
prints. All these prints from Ghana and shit, and they know last week they was like, I ain't Black, like, and saying nigga like every single day, and they're like, I'm
Exactly,
not Black,
but you're
I'm
not
just,
Black.
yeah.
And it's like,
So,
and I feel
uh,
like even big like activists, specifically Black run activist pages, I feel like they're not talking about A Wrinkle in Time. You know what I mean? You had all these articles being like, "Oh, A Wrinkle in Time is just as important as Black Panther," but now that it's out, y'all aren't even supporting it. I haven't seen
yeah.
Afropunk. Afropunk hasn't made not one post about A Wrinkle in Time.
I mean, I don't give a fuck about Afropunk
I
because
mean,
of their
but
whole MIA shit, and
yeah,
they are
that's
now owned
true.
by white people. And
That's true. But there's still a big platform for, for Black
I know.
people. And then I haven't seen, like just like some of the pages that I'm following and not noticing they haven't said it. Like, like big names like Cat Black. Cat Black hasn't said anything as a Black woman about Wrinkle Time. I don't
No
think
one
she's
is talking about A
no
Wrinkle in
one.
Also, okay, one thing that irritated me about it is one excuse that people were using as to why they were not going and seeing the movie was that it was a kids movie, okay? So, let's just like talk about that for a second. There were so many fucking adults that went to go see Toy Story 3. I
No.
know because when I saw that movie and was bawling my eyes out, it was filled with nothing but adults. Like there was like one kid in that whole theater when I saw it. So I was like, all right, you guys. All right. So then just like, let's just talk about, like, take that one off the table then maybe. Because, Toy Story, we all grew up with it. Of course, we're going to go see the third one. Frozen, there were nothing but adults in that one too. There were like kids like scattered throughout the theater. And that is a white ass movie. Like, that is the whitest fucking cartoon that you
That's
could.
the whitest cartoon.
Like, they're not even just like white. They're like white. Like,
Extra
they're
white.
like the whitest that you could possibly be. And we all showed up for that too. So don't tell me if we can show up for an animated movie that we cannot show up for A Wrinkle in Time. Like
Yeah.
when I saw A Wrinkle in Time the other day in Harlem, there was like not that many people in there, and I saw it at like 6 o'clock in the evening on like a Friday or something. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like a crazy time like a Monday at 10 a.m. or something. It was like in the evening at the end of the week, perfect time for people to go. So I'm just like so irritated by that concept because we all like watch these dumbass kids movies. I watched
Exactly.
Inside Out. I saw Inside Out like twice in the theater. So
Yeah.
like,
Exactly.
yeah, and I've watched it since it's been on DVD. Like, I'm just so irritated by that excuse because we show up for these movies and people had no problem taking their kids to see these white ass kids movies. Why not
Exactly.
the one that actually matters?
Exactly. And the thing is, like, and we have so much buying power as Black people. Like, we have so much, and then we just don't even. And it's like, aren't superheroes inherently for children? Like, weren't they made for kids? Like, y'all are going to go see superhero movies. Those are for kids, essentially. Superheroes were
Also,
made for
like,
children.
all of these white women that were saying that the reason they didn't want to take their kids to see Black Panther was because it was PG-13 and it was too violent. Like, okay, sure, Sally, but you took them to see Spider-Man and fucking Star Wars. But okay, so then why
Yeah,
aren't you taking your kids to see A Wrinkle in Time then? Like, if
that's
it's too,
PG.
that's PG and it's got a lead girl character who is of color, so I don't see the problem. It's not violent at all. Like, I'm just waiting to Sally,
Exactly.
Becky, like, why?
Exactly.
Like, I'm just that the whole fake excuse thing is just like really like starting to bug the shit out of me
Yeah.
because
Just say
we
just be honest and just say you hate Black women. I'll respect
just
that.
say you hate Black women. It's like that is key here. It's like all you have to say, just say it and I'll respect you.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
because you were honest with me. Like, don't make up some fake excuse about how you just like you're not into it or whatever. Like, you can take your kids to see all these other stupid ass movies. You can take them to see A Wrinkle in Time, and it actually matters and it
Yeah,
actually means something. Yeah.
exactly. It's super important.
And also, okay, another thing that I was thinking about the other day. Okay, white women, for instance. Like, I know we're talking about like black people and how they need to show up to support this movie. White women stay on this bullshit about how they want to like support black shit,
They
and
do.
they came out in droves to like see black
Oh.
ready and pumped and geared up to go see that, but like not ready to see Wrinkle in Time. So my only question is, were they doing that because they're fetishizing black people? Because of course, Black Panther made it very easy for people to go watch it because everybody in there is really amazing looking.
Yeah,
So
and
like,
Killmonger's like
because
doesn't have a shirt on for like half the movie.
yeah. So it's like, are you guys only seeing Black Panther because you like fetishizing black men specifically, and you could sit there and watch them for 2 hours? And in A Wrinkle in Time, you can't do that because
Nope.
everyone did. Yeah, is
Yeah,
that what we're doing here? Everyone is
exactly.
fetishizing us.
I
Like,
mean, it wouldn't be the first time. I mean, and then also I feel like this really exposes how superficial we are. Like back to like the Kendrick Lamar soundtrack. Okay, and just like the superficial way we support black women. Like you have these like where you get these Instagram models. You know what I mean? Or you like where these posts with these really dark skinned women, these like really beautiful black women, and like people are like hyping them up, right? You know what I mean? But like in real life, you do not support any black woman you've ever seen like that. It's got to be
yeah,
this never had a pimple a day in her life, always covered in oil, like kind of black girl on Instagram.
I feel like I feel so dumb by like by even ever being a fan of Kendrick Lamar's. I feel like it took this soundtrack for me to like see that he's trash,
Yeah,
because I was actually a fan of his, even though he gives off like serious. He's his Hotep. He's a serious
yeah,
Hotep.
he definitely is.
I don't like fuck with Hoteps like ever because they're always on some bullshit talking
Always,
about
oh fuck hoteps.
black. Always talking about like black women aren't supposed to bleed because that is our colonization. Because we're not supposed to have period. Like,
Yeah,
what?
and they always like feel like we have to have like this eternal like support, like we're like supposed to be like little bridges or something like for black
Yes.
men.
Yes, stand on my head, black men.
Use my hand as a stick. you know?
Literally him. And so, but like, I'm so irritated that I didn't see it in him. I knew he was giving off like serious Hotep vibes for a while, but I kind of fuck with him still because he hasn't like fully crossed over in my opinion. Then he had
Yeah,
it.
definitely
And
not.
one thing that irritated me about the Humble video, besides like a lot of stuff, was like when he was talking about like black women's bodies in there and saying that he liked the stretch marks. Of course, he only featured the ones on her ass. So when are we gonna get a black woman in a music video where someone's talking about how he likes her body or likes her stretch marks and she's got them on her stomach
Yeah,
and doesn't have a
exactly.
baby, doesn't have a
Yeah,
baby, and she's got them?
it's not from a baby. Yeah,
What about
exactly.
what
Because
about
that's
when they're on
another thing
the
we
shoulder?
get fetishized for, like, oh, black women like birth the world, and like it's always these like paintings of like black women that are like naked and they're like pregnant and stuff. It's like, what's wrong with y'all?
I saw her the other day and she was like pregnant, which looked like she was like carrying a litter because her stomach was so big. So I was like, how many babies are in there?
The
First of all,
world, ShiShi, the
the
world.
world was fucking in there. And then she had babies all over her. So they were like a baby on her shoulder and like one like crawling up her leg. And I was like, the fuck? How many babies do you have? Like, what are you? Use a condom. You
Yeah,
can't
like
even afford a baby.
we're still seen as like like what's the like we're like we just make things come out of like
We're just baby
we're just
machines.
yeah we're just baby machines. And then
Yeah.
it's like I also what really bothers me about I mean I don't know if there's been any other music videos released, but I've only seen the All the Stars because I get the same way about visual stuff the way people get about ASMR, and like so I watch that music video a lot um because since it
Yeah,
just
it's
looks
really beautiful.
gorgeous.
It also stole the whole concept of the video.
Yes,
Yeah.
but what
Which
bothers
also,
me yeah, from a black
from a
woman
black woman,
artist.
yeah, who denied him like to work for, because he asked her to work on the movie or the music video, and she said no.
And he was like, all right, then I'll just steal it.
Yeah,
All right,
cool.
bet.
Yeah, right. Right, I'll just take it then.
Tight, I'll just take it. And so it's like this superficialness because you have this movie like, you know, and you have Black Panther where you have these really strong, powerful women who are multidimensional, you know, characters. They're not just like, you know, this one is like whatever, blah blah. And yet you still have Kendrick making this soundtrack excluding black women and also actively including misogynist acts. You know what I mean? Fuck Future. I'm sorry, I know I'm supposed to stop cussing, but seriously,
No,
fuck Future.
fuck Future. Also, fuck The Weeknd. The
Fuck
Weeknd
the,
doesn't care about black women.
yeah,
Like,
no, not at all. And you
no.
include these people on a soundtrack for a movie that celebrates black women.
Yes.
Somewhat.
Yeah. I mean, it celebrates a very specific type of black woman.
Yes.
Yeah, and they were like very like multidimensional. They all like my favorite is Suri because she's the inventor for Wakanda and everything. And I also love Nakia's character, but I really wasn't feeling the lack of like body diversity too.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
was one body type in all of Black Panther, and they
Skinny
all
and
everybody
ripped.
skinny and that was literally everybody's body. Like the only person also with an ass in that movie is Lupita. Like everybody else didn't even really have like a big ass. Like I'm just where are my big thighed sisters at? Like where are the big girls? Where's
Yeah.
the girl with the stretch marks? Like y'all all out here with your arms out and wearing all these like fucking things. Where's your stretch marks? Where's your big arms? Where's your thighs? Where's your hips? Where's your belly fat? Where's like there's nothing. You in Africa. Y'all eating good. Like some of y'all
Yeah,
gonna have
true.
some of y'all gonna have on your bones
Y'all have
and
no poverty. Come on, man. Y'all will be fat.
no poverty. Like you gonna have a little bit of a belly because you've been eating good. Like
Exactly. And then like what I hate, so what that bothers me the most about the music video, the All the Stars music video, is that Kendrick uses like black women as like symbols almost. You know what I mean? Like they're not even people in the video. They're
their
just
art,
like decoration.
their art installations is
Yeah.
what he did because
Like
he knew they visually looked good, so he just like placed them.
exactly.
He's just like, and here's one, and here's one. They're like little pillars that he like put to like hold
They're
up.
literally pillars. Like they tower over him. They're not, and they're just, and they don't move. They don't have
No,
any sort of dynamic at all. Like it's
no.
like you only like, you know, we can appreciate what black women are like. Oh, they're beautiful, but like we don't want them to talk or like have personalities or like be real.
Because we're not supposed to do any of those things.
No.
We're supposed to exist to look good aesthetically, and that's
Exactly.
for everybody to like treat us like shit. Or like the other day I was on the subway and like this white woman was trying to touch my hair and I was just like, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, it's just so fluffy. And I'm just like, okay, that doesn't mean you need to touch it. Like I'm not this
I'm not
isn't
a dog.
this isn't a petting zoo. You don't get to just touch me whenever you want to. And I know that like society has taught you that black women are not allowed to like tell you no, or you have ownership over our bodies, but that's not the way that this works. You actually like ask for consent. And why would you ever ask a stranger for consent to touch their hair? Like I would walk up to a stranger and be like, can I touch your hair? If anything, if I like their hair, I'd be like, oh my God, your hair is so pretty. And bye.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go to work now.
I'm not gonna be a freak and touch it.
And insane. I leave.
I've never wanted to touch anybody's hair ever.
No, the only people's hair I've ever touched have been like friends as they're like laying on my lap and I like rub their head or something.
Yeah, exactly.
There's never been a random stranger. I don't care how cool their hair looked. I saw a black girl today whose hair was like bomb. Like her fro was like next level. I didn't want to touch it. I wanted to look at it. Like I just wanted to stare at her, be like, sis, you're beautiful. Like I don't know if I'm gonna sleep with you or if I just want to like be you or like we should date or like I don't like what
we should date.
I don't know. I'm too gay for this situation. But
yeah, exactly. I'm not hating. I just think you cute.
Girl, I just like you're cute and also I want to be like it's both things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like it just further like attributes to the fact that we're just like not supposed to be actual living things. We're just supposed to be like things you can look at, things you can touch. Like we're not supposed to have any feelings or act any kind of way.
It's just like so tiring. Like when are we going to support black women is my question, I guess, to everyone. And not even just to black people, it's to everyone, to every person that's ever been like, to every person who's ever written to me being like, ShiShi, you've helped me so much to understand my privilege and I want to be better and I'm learning. How the fuck are you coming and showing up for black women? Like,
did you see Wrinkle in Time?
Yeah. I'm waiting. Let me know think about it. Tell me what you think about A Wrinkle in Time. Like,
exactly. And then also like another that reminds me, it's like I remember there was this meme going around, like it was like, oh, like if Black Panther's bad, like are we just gonna pretend it's good? And then somebody was like, yeah, and it was like oh, to the end of the time, to the end of time, or to our last breath. Why didn't Wrinkle in Time get that same sort of hype? You know?
and it's funny to me too because like collectively Black people, we're not like, I mean, a lot of us like superhero movies, but it's not like the whole community is like superhero obsessed.
No.
So easily this movie could have not done well just based on the fact that it was like a superhero movie. So the fact that we were like fully planning to support it even if it sucked shows how we always come through for Black men.
Exactly.
And what's sucks is that, like, you know, I like the director, I like Black Panther, like I love it. It's like one of my
same.
It's a beautiful movie, and like every time I watch it, I still get chills like watching it. It is very important for our community, but it's also important for us to recognize the very different ways that we react when it's a black man making the movie as opposed to a Black woman. And also, I think like what's so stupid about this whole thing is Ava is Ava. Like people know who the fuck she is.
It's not like she was like a nobody.
It's not like she's a nobody. It's not like when I direct my first movie one day and people are just like, who the fuck is ShiShi? Like, and my like little Instagram following is like the only people that are gonna like come through and like watch my movie, but like no one else can see it. Like, it's not, people know who the fuck Ava is.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Like, it's just wild to me, her of all people. Like, the only reason she got the budget that she got was because
she's Ava.
Yeah, like she would have never gotten that budget. She would have never been the first Black woman director to get $100 million to direct a movie if she wasn't herself. So like the fact that we didn't come through and support her, I'm just like very pissed about this. And then it makes it like those of us who think the way that you and I think, it's such a heavy load to carry because
like I'm like, I
feel
gotta
like we have to. Yeah, I have to see it 20 fucking times. I gotta like use all my little money to go and like see this. I gotta support Ava in all ways. Like I started watching Queen Sugar again just because, even though I don't really like it that much. Like, all right, I guess Ava, I'm with you, girl. I love you. You know, like, watch it, but I'm tired of all this drama.
I'm tired.
But it's just like, it sucks because it's just like we have to carry it then because no one else will. So we're like busting our ass trying to make sure that people see it and stuff. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just definitely, it's just overall just horrible. That's the way I can describe it. And,
it's cool too for like future filmmakers because like I want to be a director at some point.
Yeah, same here.
No idea when that's gonna happen or whatever, but it like really is bleak feeling to watch somebody as well known as Ava not get the support that she deserves for something that she makes, especially when that thing is not about Black oppression. And it makes us feel like,
and amazing.
It's gorgeous and it's amazing and it's written so beautifully, and it sucks because then it's like, okay, so when I start directing, does that mean that I need to be making like remake the Malcolm X movie or something? That's like the only way that people are going to come through.
But only slave movies.
Why the fuck is a Black woman making the Malcolm X movie? And then I'll try to do like Angela Davis the movie, and then people are like, we don't give a fuck about Angela Davis.
Nobody's gonna see it.
Like, I swear.
Exactly.
I can't win for shit.
You literally can't win, because I remember you asked me, you said, because you asked me if I think that the reason why it didn't get shown out as well is because it got shown so closely to Black Panther, and I was like, this is the time where you think it would do the best, you know what I mean? Like, because right now, all Black people are like, yeah, Black power and stuff, but like, that only goes, it stops at Black men.
That dance, yeah, Black power.
Yeah, Black power. You know, like that's like how we're feeling. Like this is the time that it should have done the best. It's right after Black Panther while we're in our Black power mode. But that only goes as far as Black dudes.
Like we out here, we got our dashikis and everything on lock, and then we're still not coming through to go see this movie. Like I bought extra dashikis, so I like went over to the African store the other day and got me a new like kente cloth skirt, and I'm just like, all right, I'm Black, so are we showing up or not?
I'm Black, y'all, and I'm Black, y'all, and I'm Black.
I'm Blackity Black.
I'm Black, y'all. Exactly. So anybody who hasn't seen this movie and is a Black person, I'm just, shame on you, and also your mom's a hoe.
Damn. I thought you were trying not to cuss. You calling people's mamas hoes and stuff.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, but seriously, your mom's a hoe, and I'm like done with this like bougie ass shit.
Yeah.
And if y'all don't support my homegirl Ava, We about to fight.
Yeah, me and ShiShi are coming to each black person's house personally.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at him. I'm looking at him just like Meg before she threw that basketball. I'm like, okay, bam, bam.
Exactly. If you hear a basketball outside your house bouncing on the gravel, you know that we're here. And
Bouncing balls on the same rhythm, like, no, we're coming. We're coming.
exactly.
Get
You
your
better be real scared.
better get your shoes on and go to the movie theater real quick.
Exactly. You better tell me how much you love Wrinkle time. Okay, and then that's like that segues into like our last section, which probably should be shorter because like we mostly talked about it, but just like the way that because like what like Ava tweeted something, saying that like the reason why like people like got such like the reviews were like bad or whatever is because of like racism, and I think that was only half correct. It was like racism plus sexism. It was misogynoir.
Misogynoir. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's hatred for black women.
Exactly. Like it wasn't just strictly racism. It was specifically because you're like a black lady.
I think also, yes, but she probably knows that, and
Yeah.
she probably also doesn't want to call that out directly.
That's
because
true.
that could potentially make people turn on her.
That's
because she's
true.
already in such a predicament, having made this movie and having black people not support her. Those who support her at all would be like, oh, she's talking shit about how black women don't fuck with her. All right, bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
true.
Like,
black dudes get like feeling like insecure because they got called out. Like, oh, well, then never mind. I was gonna see it next weekend, but now I'm not going to.
they're just as insecure as white people most of the time. You
Yeah.
call them out shit and they turn like a quick second. You know how many times I've like called out a black dude on catcalling and they've turned on me and start calling me a bitch and shit? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, bitch, I wasn't a bitch before when you wanted my number. Like, now when I'm calling you out, now I'm a bitch. Now I'm an ugly ass hoe. Now I'm a titty, no nipple having ass bitch. Like, all this shit. And I'm just like, okay, but I didn't say any of that before. So
you didn't say any of that before. Excuse me.
What is
wanted my number?
Yeah, you wanted this punani. So like, what are you talking about right now? Like, no children can watch this.
Yeah, true. Well, just give the kids a summary of what we talked about in this video.
Wrinkle in Time is like all you need to
True.
do. The kids to see the damn movie. You as the adult can watch this.
Exactly. So like so that's our next segment is like why sexism specifically is why I think like the focus on the criticism was sexism specifically is why it got so many criticisms. One being like, so the way women exist in media, they have to succeed in male dominant fields, you know what I mean? So like since this was a women's movie about like starring women, all the dynamic characters were women, and for the strength to be emotional strength, it was about emotional strength and it was about love. And those are not saying that only women have emotions because that's ridiculous, but that's like a typically feminine thing, It's like, oh, like emotional strength doesn't get as much credit as real strength. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, example, like Black Panther. Once again, it's not Black Panther versus A Wrinkle in Time. It's Black Panther and A Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah.
But like, so even though the women in Black Panther were well written and multi-dimensional characters, they still succeeded in what is like male okayed fields. You know what I mean? Like,
they're
fighting
and inventors, and like they're that amazing because they succeeded in all the things that men are already like appraised for being good at.
Exactly. So it's like guys like women when they're fighting and stuff, you know what I mean? Like guys never appreciate like women characters that are just like, oh, like, she's a really good person, blah blah, she does this. It's like, no, they have to succeed at some sort of like male okayed field. Like, it's like the cool girl, like she likes beer, she likes hot dogs, blah blah blah.
Yeah, she's not like other girls. She's different.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that definitely like played a huge role in this, and also that both of those strengths of hers, her vulnerability and the loving part, that came from a little girl though, and
exactly.
That's a whole other thing. And I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I guess this is like going kind of like in a bleak direction for a second, but I really that their lack of support for this movie, having like a little girl character for the lead character, it reminded me of a couple of summers ago how black men didn't come through when all those black girls were being like abused by cops and stuff and like thrown around classrooms, and like there was like so much like police brutality that one summer. And not that there isn't like all the time, but that specific summer where it was like the cop pinned the little girl in the bathing suit down on the ground
in the pool,
the cop at the
in the
pool,
school.
like, yeah, and he like broke that girl's jaw, and she was like 14. And then the girl at the school that he like threw her over the desk and broke her arm. There are all of these instances of things. There was that other black girl who, it wasn't the cops, but it was these white women in the neighborhood who like, they basically said that these black kids weren't supposed to be like at this pool, even though like their friend who lived there invited them. And the white moms came out and like spit in her face and like beat her, and like all these things happened to black girls this one summer. And I just remember like being so pissed because I feel like it was the first time that I like really recognized that black men don't give a fuck about us. And I like knew that before, but it like took me, like I needed to like fully see it, because I guess I realized they didn't give a fuck about us as like black women, but I was like, these are little girls, these are children.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, don't give a fuck about us. And so I was just like, yes, the lack of support for like from the black community for this movie, when the lead character has all of these amazing strengths that are also like looked down upon, but when it comes from like the package as a black girl, it reminded me of that summer and how fucking shitty that was for us. And we were going so hard for like so much other police brutality that happened that year. Nobody was saying those girls' names, and like except for black and other black little girls. And now who's talking about them? No one's talking about that summer. Like how traumatized those girls still are, like 2 years, 3 years later. Like no one's talking about that. That like that's
never got any justice.
No, none of them. And that's always going to be with them. Whether it's like the girl who the neighbors were the ones that beat her, or the cops, like they're always going to feel unsafe. And then on top of that, to know at their age that black men don't give a fuck about them, to even like speak about it. Even a lot of black women were not speaking about it.
Exactly. Like your own community, like it's a really, you exist in a really weird place when you're a black woman, because it's like, you definitely cannot fuck with any non-black people from the jump, because you don't know. You definitely know white people, but you can't even fuck with other black people because you don't know.
Like, it's such a shitty place to be.
And
a lot of people, I know, like this argument specifically, I don't know if anybody that watches this will like come back like with that, but like a lot of people, whenever I brought up like film and like representation and stuff in film and like police brutality and all that, they're always like, those are not even the same thing. We don't even need to be having those conversations at the same time. And I'm like,
it's gonna be filled with comments like that.
I'm so tired of that argument, and I just wish that like we could get there faster, because like if they can't understand how important it is to like see these things visually represented and how that impacts all of the actions that happen towards black people in the real world, like if we can't appreciate a little black girl who's saving the world in a movie, how are we going to appreciate the real little black girls who are like actually inventors, and they're not just inventors in Wakanda, you know? Like
exactly.
I'm just so like, when are we gonna get it?
Nope.
When? Never. So
Never.
We're just gonna all die trying.
Like honestly, I will die trying. I will die trying. I'm planning on actually getting a Wrinkle in Time tattoo. So like, all you bitches is fake. I'm getting a half shoulder sleeve.
Oh, that's dope.
A half, yeah. I want to get like, I'm gonna have the new design. It's gonna be in color and stuff. I'm probably not gonna get it for a while, because it's gonna be at least like with the color and the design, it's gonna be like a K. So if anybody wants to donate to me so I can get a Wrinkle in Time tattoo, just kidding. Use your money to go see a Wrinkle in Time.
Or do both.
Or you can do both. Support me, also a black woman.
Yes, you are also a black woman.
I too am a black woman. But yeah, so it's like, like this, like, so society hates femininity, and that's just it. Like, this movie was like about a lot of feminine energy and a lot of feminine power, and society does not. We hate that. We hate that shit. I mean, we can internalize it. I remember for the longest time, I didn't even like the color pink, because it was like, that's a girl color, and I'm hardcore, blah. But like, I just bought some pink Vans. Like, pink is my shit now.
I started having that same like breakthrough, because for the longest time I was like, I'm too fucking punk for pink. Like, I'm a fucking girly girl. Meanwhile, I'm like my nails done and like putting on makeup and like all that shit. But like that color, man, they like really try to like ruin us for like what we think is acceptable and like what we're out to have, like allowing ourselves to have. Like,
it's like anything associated with femininity is inherently not as good as other things, you know?
Yeah, I remember like the biggest insult as a kid was like when somebody told you that you like threw like a girl or like ran like a girl or
Yeah.
and then one day I was like, the fuck? I ain't a girl.
Exactly. Wait a second.
I
Wait a minute.
being little like, no I don't. No I don't. Like as soon as they said it and then like one day it just like clicked for me.
Yeah.
Like,
He's like,
oh yeah. It's like,
I am a girl. You know, and it's like we also like we teach like men aren't expected to identify with female characters, but females, oh my god, I can't believe I just said that. Women,
into a hotep, you just called us female.
I did just turn into a hotep for a second. I called us females. Oh my god, I just yelled at my brother in the back. Anyway,
Talked about Kendrick and you like invoked Kendrick's spirit.
he just possessed me in my own house.
Like,
Get back, Kendrick. Get back. I rebuke thee.
flee from me, Satan.
Exactly like salt. But women are expected to identify with male characters. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so you can have a little girl dress up as like Batman or superhero, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's so cute." But then, like, if a little boy wants to be Wonder Woman, it's like, no, that's for girls." You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, so
Tired of that concept. Like I've seen all these like mom tutorials on Pinterest of them like how to make Batman into a girl's costume by adding a tutu. And I'm like, okay, but what if your son wants to be Batman and wear a tutu too? Like why can't he have
exactly.
a tutu and be Batman with a tutu? Like
Your son just likes tutus.
yeah, tutus are dope. Like
Tutus are dope.
man.
You know, like
You know how many boys I've made tutus for just because I'm just like, but I always make it when they're like 3, like before the time where somebody has been like, okay, you can't do that because you're a boy.
yeah.
Which I feel like the peak age that happens is like 4,
Yeah,
where like
totally.
they're still like kind of babies at 3, you know,
So
like
they
2.5. Yeah, so I'm just like, yeah, put on this tutu. How you
Yeah.
feel? You like that?
Yeah,
Yeah, you
because it's like
yeah.
once you like take out all that internalized like self hate, you realize how many like feminine things are like that's dope as hell. You know what I mean? Like that's sick as hell. You know, because like you have society constantly beating this message into you that only masculine things are worth anything. Only masculine things are important. You know?
Yeah. It's just so dumb the way that we like think about gender. The fact that we really like have enforced it like this.
Yeah.
Also like that it's kind of like a universal concept at this point, you know? Because for a while, like, I mean, there's still other cultures, obviously, that don't look at gender the same way as us. But a lot of those cultures have been, like, eradicated at this point and have been, like, fully indoctrinated into this, like, stupid-ass gendered lifestyle. And I'm like, who started all this shit? Because all of these tribes of people and stuff were not operating under these gender constructs before. So was it just the Europeans? Yeah, Europeans.
The whites.
They really fucked it up for like everybody though, like even themselves. Like no, because I was like literally thinking about this the other day. I was like, white people are so angry because they don't have culture. They're literally in a foreign land. They have no connection to their own culture because they're not white is not a thing. Black is not a real thing. But we have to like call ourselves that because that's what we were given. But like, what culture are y'all from? Like, where are you guys from? Like, what was your like cultural dishes that you guys ate like back in the day? Like
Stuff that
what
probably
kind of,
was not good.
it's not seasoned, obviously, but
Yeah,
like
exactly.
still had it. You know, it
They
was
still
like
have
as
it.
fuck, but they still had it. It was still theirs. And the
That's
fact that they
true.
don't have this is why they're so mad. And they're like going up into schools and like shooting up everybody and stuff. And it's just like, okay, my nigga, I know you're not a nigga, but my nigga, why are you shooting up a school because you don't have culture? Like I'm not shooting up a school, and I like you guys try to take my culture.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I'm supposed to
like
be an angry black woman. I've never tried to shoot up a school.
I just like really don't understand that concept of that like, oh yeah, it's because they have mental illness. Homie, do you know how much mental illness black women have? Like we ain't shooting nobody.
I've never
Like
met a mentally ill person that wanted to shoot anybody.
no, we want therapy. We want therapy and like a nice warm blanket.
Yep.
And chocolate is good.
Netflix.
Netflix.
We
Yes,
want a wrinkle in time.
Yes, we want a wrinkle in time.
We want Oprah telling us that we're important so that we can cry and feel good about ourselves.
I want Oprah placing her hands on my shoulders and telling me the universe bent for me to make and like made all these decisions for me, my sense. Like
Exactly. That's what mentally ill people want. We want Oprah telling us to love ourselves.
And then I want to go to therapy and talk to my therapist about how Oprah just told me that, like, so it can like be fully reprocessed and like
Yeah,
ingrained in my brain forever. That's what I want.
exactly. Because you deserve to be loved. We all deserve to be loved.
We all deserve to be loved.
Exactly.
And everybody and Ava deserves for people to see A Wrinkle in Time.
Exactly. And then the thing is, like, do it for yourself. See this movie for yourself. Especially if you're a woman, like, this movie is so refreshing. And that's the thing, like, I don't understand the criticism. Like, speaking about sexism, it's like there's a lot of, like, male dominated criticisms that are coming into this. But every woman, every person I've talked to, but specifically every woman I've seen this movie with, or have talked to who have seen this movie, was like, it was like a moving experience for them. Like, it was like refreshing. It was like, like the person I saw it with, she was like, I feel creative now. She was like, I feel like I need to do a creative venture. You know what I mean? People come
Yeah.
out of this movie, you feel better for yourself. It's a complete transcendent process as a woman. Like it's like it's like Oprah and Ava are like, like I see you, I see what you're doing, and like you're doing great.
Yeah, it's like they just like patted us on the back and they're just
Yeah,
like, keep going, y'all good. You can do
yeah.
this.
You deserve to be loved, regardless of all the bad things you feel about yourself. And that's okay
Yeah.
that you feel bad things about yourself. It's okay to have faults.
Yeah, and it's
But you
okay
still
not to.
deserve
You still deserve love,
you
even if
still
you're not.
deserve to be loved.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is like a whole other concept because there's the notion that like no one will love us unless we love ourselves, which is like what
Exactly.
we're always telling other people, and that's so dumb because it makes us feel like we have to be a certain way in order to get love from other people, when actually like everybody's broken and everybody deserves to be loved regardless of how broken they are. So
Exactly.
I'm like, I'm just done with fucking people. Like I just want to go out on the street and shout at everybody to go fucking see this movie because like I'm so tired. Like I was in the theater. I was so sad when it ended because I was just like, that part and like when you're watching a movie and you know that like the ending is coming soon.
Yeah.
Like, oh god.
Yeah.
I was just like starting
Exactly.
so stressed out because like I knew that it was like coming and I didn't want to leave the theater and I like sat there for so long in the theater and all
Yeah.
like five people that were in there walked out and I was like by myself.
Yo,
Like y'all
after
ain't feel that? Y'all ain't feel the shit.
yo, and honest to God, I'm not even exaggerating. After I left the movie theater and driving home, I just sat in silence. I turned my radio off and I just drove home in complete silence. Like that's how shook to my core I was.
You know
Like I
you're
needed
shook when
to
you turn the music off.
I turned the music off. Like I turned off my radio and I just drove home in silence. I needed to feel that. You know what I mean? Like it's like love is such a powerful and profound thing, and it's like this movie is just full of it. You know what I mean? Love for yourself, love for others, love for like people, the way people love you, and it's just beautiful. And you're like everybody deserves to feel that. And just because
We
there's some
really
edgy
do.
white dudes and edgy black dudes probably too that are like, oh, this movie wasn't dark enough. It's too positive. How can a movie be too positive? How's that a negative thing?
Also, like, I'm really tired of us needing so much violence and like extreme hardcore shit,
Yeah,
like in order to like feel something. That's how I like. This is so dumb, but like I saw that movie Mother, which
yeah.
like I can't
I don't
fuck
like
with
Jennifer
that.
Lawrence.
With that, yeah, like I don't, yeah, me either. And but like I can't fuck with that movie or like that director because he likes pushing the envelope so much. And that's like the thing is like we as a society are so used to like violence and like hardcore like things that like leave your head spinning as opposed to just like make you think about like how beautiful life is. Like we never watch things that just like make you think about life being beautiful. We watch things that make us be like, why the fuck are we even alive? You
Yeah,
see how bleak this shit is? Like that's what they try to make us think in these movies. Like I'm surprised people don't like kill themselves more after movies because like seriously, what the hell? Like all the movies we watched are like fucking Mother like killing a baby. Like there was no reason to do this. Like
yeah. I mean,
we're
it's like,
so like desensitized to shit. Like can we
yeah.
have one beautiful thing? Like
It's because like people like we conflate cynicism with intelligence. You know what I mean? People want a shortcut to intelligence. They want to be like, I'm so smart without actually having to do the work. you know?
yeah.
And people think that being cynical is just the get shortcut to being smart. So you have people who like watch stuff like Black Mirror, which I think is mostly garbage, and they're just like,
I love that show, but only when I'm high, because I can't watch it when I'm sober.
Yeah,
Because I can't, because it gets too up into my head. It's weird because when I'm high, it doesn't get that far up into my head. But when I'm not high, I'm just like, what the hell? Why would you make this? No, because
yeah,
it's
because
just
it's
like,
like,
you really made a whole ass episode where you torture somebody on a repeat every day instead of putting her in prison.
yeah.
Like,
And then you have
homie.
like the same dudes who like gave stuff bad reviews. They're like, "Oh, this is so smart and this is so intelligent." But it's like, what does it make you think about? It makes you think about how bad things are. I can look outside and think that things are
No, you
bad.
said it right the first time, how bad things is. Like, a Jerry Bonix is like coming out, and you're like, no, I mean,
I want white people to watch this video.
you're like, I mean,
How
how
bad-
bad things are. The nigger came out too hard.
Okay, now kids definitely can't watch this. You said it with an ER, a strong ER.
It was a strong ER. People are gonna drag me.
Anyway, I can look outside and see how bad things is. Like it's not a profound statement for you to say that things are bad. Like
I
everybody
know, like,
knows you're not
I don't
smart.
understand. I don't understand, like, why. Because, like, okay, I watch Black Mirror, but I don't watch that much other. So, like, the other day, I was talking to my friend, and I was just like, I can't, like, fuck with, like, horror films anymore, because I'm tired of this. Like, we just watch these, like, little white kids on a road trip, and they're driving along, and somebody pops their tires, and then all of a sudden, a dude with a chainsaw comes out of nowhere after they already set up camp, and they're like fucking in the woods with each other, and then just like the same fucking concept. All we just keep watching the same thing. There's always a dark ass family that lives in the woods that wants to kill everybody and
Yeah.
has like all of these empty ass cars in their backyard full of all the other people they killed. And I'm just like, how many times can we watch the same thing?
Exactly.
Can I watch
Exactly.
something that makes me feel something besides the fact that, like, I can't be alone in the woods anymore because, like, I'm pretty sure I'll get murdered. Like,
I can't be alone in the woods anymore.
I mean, I wasn't going alone in the woods really before, anyways, but like, because I'm
Just in
black. But
case. Now you for sure can't go.
no, I for sure can't, because obviously there's going to be a murder out there. But I'm just like, I'm really irritated because I feel like human beings don't know how to, like, have anything happen in their brain, like, that just makes them feel good.
Yeah.
Like, we
And
don't know how to just feel good about anything that happens in life. And that's for, like, everything, not even just, like, this movie. Like, if you notice, people love complaining about their life more than they like talking about, like, what's
good
going
stuff.
good. And I'm like, I'm super guilty of this as well. Like, if somebody asks me how I am, I'm just like, well, I want to die. And, like, instead of being like, you know what? I woke up alive today. So that's a good start. And, like,
Yeah.
not that we can talk about bad stuff, too, because we should also be able to do that. But, like, I don't know. We just, like, don't ever spend enough time talking
Yeah.
about life being beautiful.
It shouldn't be like the end all be all, you know what I mean? And we have this like weird idea, like, like, oh, humanity is inherently bad, you know what I mean? And it's like that's all the proof of that has been from like very specific studies where it was white men. You know what I mean?
And
Like,
they're the ones that made it so
yeah,
bad.
exactly. Like the Stanford prison experiment, like that would have been different if it was a bunch of black girls. Like a bunch of black girls would have just been chilly. You know what I mean? Like it's so we can't say like all society is bad because we have these few things like where it's like white men did this and Lord of the Flies and because like that's a small part of society. There's a small part, so you have this like cynical idea that doesn't even that's not even the full experience of humanity. You know what I mean? Like
Also,
we
like, if they don't like that, maybe stop colonizing everyone. And then wouldn't have so much darkness.
yeah, true.
Stop stealing land and people and culture and everything.
Exactly. And it's just like I feel like it's way more profound and it's way more intelligent too. Because I mean, I'm an aestheticism, like in terms of like artists. Like I like Oscar Wilde. Like I like things to be beautiful. I want things to be beautiful. I want things that I create to be beautiful. Because everything you can look outside, you can look on the news and see ugly things. You know what I mean? It's so easy to look at ugly things, and it's so much harder and so much more powerful to be like, there's beauty in this. I'm gonna make this beautiful despite everything. And so I feel like it's very easy for all these people to be like, oh, it was too positive. You know what I mean? Because like you don't you don't think about the depth that goes into having a positive movie like this. To the depth and the profoundness in loving yourself.
Yeah. I also feel like the movie visually was so nice to see as somebody living in New York City. I was just like, oh, okay, we got nature out here. We got some nature.
We
We got
got
some,
nature
like,
out
we
here.
got some sky. Like tonight, somebody said there was a full moon. Like, I don't see no moon out here. Like, I don't see nothing. Like, I don't know what's happening outside. I don't even know if it's nighttime or what time is it. So
Yeah.
it was just like, oh, I feel like living in New York City is like a weird kind of like mind fuck situation that happens because we're always in hustle mode. Like
Mhm.
everything is just like getting to the next thing. Like, okay, we have to work, we have to do this, we have to be on the train for an hour, we have to be underground, the train gets stuck. Like all these things happen and we never are like present in our life. Like we never like stop to like actually see things as beautiful. All we do is complain for 9 months about the weather, and then those like 3 months out of 2 months out of the year, whatever, that like things are nice, we're like, oh, it's so beautiful, I love this city. And it's only because it's warm, but like the second it gets like a cold breeze outside, we're complaining because we have to put a jacket on. So it was just like nice to like be somewhere in New York, which was the movie theaters, like watching this thing where like something could be beautiful, like to visually look at,
Yeah, especially
and
'cause
everybody wasn't stomping on it.
yeah, exactly. Especially because all movies are. I already yelled about this in my last podcast, but all movies are green and gray now. All movies are green and gray and the boring colors. And it's like this was a movie that was filled with color, and it's amazing. And it's just I don't know. It was amazing. And Ava, you did that.
Yeah, you
Ava,
did that shit,
you
bitch. You
you
did
did
that.
that shit. Oprah Winfrey,
You
Mindy
did that,
Kaling.
Oprah. Storm
Stormy
Reed.
Reed. Y'all all did that. I want to also make a special shout out to. Wait, I'll look this up. Let's see. What's this? What's this? Paco Delgado, my man who did the costumes.
Oh.
You did that.
It
Okay.
sounded like about to be like, what's this hoe's name?
No,
Paco
Paco Delgado. You did that with those costumes, okay? You
did.
did that.
He
Don't let anybody tell you did it.
came through.
She came through. Everybody snapped in this movie. It's a wonderful movie. It's a love story to women everywhere. It's a love story for everybody, and it's a love story specifically to black little girls and black women because we can still identify with that shit even though we're adults.
And we need to see little black girls save the world because we
we
still have little black girls inside of us. And that is one thing that Ava actually said on her Twitter the other day, that we have to take care of the little girls that's still inside of us. And the
exactly,
girls need to see a black girl saving the world.
exactly. So thank you, Ava. Thank you, Meg Murray. Thanks for everybody who made this movie. It's like it's important. It's just as important as Black Panther. It's just as important as Love Simon. It's just as important as Coco. And we need to treat it as such.
Yes. Just as important.
Just as important. Exactly. Oprah thinks that you're important, and this movie's important.
Two black power.
Two Black Power fists.
I'm holding
One
this
for me,
up.
one for Oprah. All right, thank you for doing this with me.
No problem. It was good. It was real.
Yeah, I was like, this is like a real emotional. Like I felt it.
I felt that.
We got into it.
Yeah, we need to do more of these.
Yeah, we definitely do. And nothing's getting edited, so all the crazy things we said is going right in. What'd you say?
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so good night.
Good night.
And good night to everybody else, even though depending on what time you're watching this, because it's 1:00 in the morning for us.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm going to bed. Good
Yeah,
night.
me too.
Bye.
I'm like so fucking sleepy. All right.